Is this a proxy Bandh? The Foothill Naga Coordinating Committee Bandh and the Kuki Heartland, an investigative report on disruption, hidden agendas, and community response. For more than 2 weeks now, the connection between Kangpokpi and Churachandpur, two significant Kuki majority districts in the northeastern state of Manipur, has been completely severed. The cause of this unprecedented disruption is a Bandh, or general shutdown, called by an unfamiliar organization that goes by the name of the Foothill Naga Coordinating Committee, abbreviated as Fncc. This organization, previously unknown in either civil or political circles, has suddenly gained attention by enforcing a blockade from a small Naga-inhabited village that lies along the only viable road connecting the two Kuki heartland districts. The road, once a lifeline of commerce, emergency services, and social interaction, has now become a symbol of rising tensions and an ominous warning of what might lie ahead. Questions abound. Who exactly is the Fncc? How does a small village, lacking political leverage and basic infrastructure, manage to choke the arteries of two fully functioning districts? Is this Bandh a spontaneous expression of community grievance or a sophisticated proxy maneuver meant to destabilize the Kuki heartland? This report investigates the origins, methods, impact, and possible implications of the Fncc Bandh and the responses it has evoked among Kuki and Naga communities, as well as from the silent corridors of government authority. Emergence of the Foothill Naga Coordinating Committee. Until this Bandh, the Foothill Naga Coordinating Committee was virtually unknown. It had not figured in any prior political dialogues, community resolutions, or public discourses. Its sudden rise to prominence coincides precisely with the imposition of the blockade, leading many to question whether this entity was hastily formed or deliberately concealed until now. The group's declared grievances have not been clearly outlined. There is no formal statement of purpose, no structured list of demands, and no evidence of consultation with established Naga civil or political organizations. This lack of transparency has led to widespread suspicion, particularly among neighboring communities who are directly affected by the blockade. The geography of the disruption. The site of the blockade is a remote Naga village, modest in size and resources, yet located at a critical juncture. The single road it occupies connects the northern district of Kangpokpi to the southern district of Churachandpur. For the Kuki people, this route is more than a passage. It is a connector of lives, economies, and families. The absence of alternative roads, due to the challenging terrain and years of infrastructural neglect, has made this stretch indispensable. In normal circumstances, a blockade of such importance would attract swift administrative intervention. However, in this case, there has been no significant move from either the Manipur government or central authorities to resolve the crisis. The security forces stationed nearby have remained passive, and no official attempt has been made to open dialogue with the villagers or those claiming to represent the Fncc. This inertia has further deepened the belief that the Bandh may not be an organic village-level initiative, but rather a manufactured situation enabled by powerful third-party actors. Disruptions beyond measure. The impact on the Kuki population has been immediate and severe. Access to food supplies, essential commodities, and medical services has been blocked. Students commuting between districts for education are stranded, and patients requiring urgent medical treatment are being forced to travel through circuitous and unsafe routes. The economic life of the region, heavily dependent on trade between the two districts, has slowed to a halt. Civil society organizations, including women's groups, student unions, and church councils from various Kuki villages, have issued multiple appeals for the lifting of the blockade. These appeals have emphasized peace, dialogue, and the need for mutual respect, yet they have received no response from either the Fncc or the authorities. This continued silence from both the perpetrators and the government has created a vacuum in which frustration and anger are beginning to take root. What makes the situation even more perplexing is that several Naga intellectuals and community leaders have come forward, albeit informally, to clarify that they were unaware of any decision to impose such a Bandh. Some have even gone so far as to say that the Fncc does not represent the views or aspirations of the wider Naga public. If that is the case, then whose interests are being served through this prolonged disruption? The hidden hand and proxy strategies. The concept of proxy activism is not new in Manipur. Over the decades, several organizations, some genuine, others manipulated, have been used to execute strategies that official channels would not dare pursue openly. The current Bandh bears all the hallmarks of such a tactic. The FNCC has not produced a leader, spokesperson, or formal charter. Yet, the blockade is well organized, supplied, and persistent. Independent reports have emerged suggesting that essential supplies such as food, fuel, and communication equipment are being funneled into the Bandh zone. These resources, clearly not from the village's own stores, appear to be sourced from external supporters. Analysts familiar with the political dynamics of the region suspect that certain Maitai interest groups from the valley may be playing a backstage role, possibly using the FNCC as a surrogate to pressure or provoke the Kuki communities without direct confrontation. This method of using one ethnic identity to antagonize another serves a dual purpose. It diverts attention from the real puppeteers and simultaneously fractures the delicate inter-community balance in the hills. By the time the truth comes to light, the damage both social and political is often irreversible. The Kuki response: patience under pressure. Despite the significant hardship caused by the Bandh, the Kuki response has so far remained measured and lawful. Village councils, student bodies, youth organizations, and church-based associations have reiterated their calls for peace and cooperation. Statements have emphasized the importance of dialogue and highlighted the need to avoid falling into the trap of communal confrontation. However, patience has its limits. Senior elders from several Kuki communities have now publicly stated that if the blockade continues, they may be forced to implement countermeasures. Chief among these is the proposal to shut down national highways NH2 and NH37, both of which serve as critical links between the valley and the hill districts. The potential ramifications of such a move are enormous. These highways connect the central valley region, inhabited predominantly by Maitis, to the outer hill areas. Any disruption here would not only cripple trade but also send a powerful political message. It would make clear that while one community suffers today, it holds the capacity to disrupt the entire state's functioning tomorrow. Kuki leaders have emphasized that such a course of action would be a last resort. It would not stem from a desire for retaliation but rather from a position of enforced necessity triggered by the persistent refusal of authorities to resolve the ongoing blockade. If tensions escalate from this point, the responsibility will rest on those who either enabled or ignored the roots of the current crisis. A regional powder keg. Manipur has experienced multiple waves of ethnic violence in the past, with lasting scars still visible across its landscape. The FNCC Bandh, if allowed to continue, could act as a catalyst for renewed hostility. The situation is volatile, the stakes are high, and the silence of the government is deafening. The deliberate misuse of religious or ethnic banners to instigate political disruption is especially dangerous in a state like Manipur. Community identities in this region are deeply intertwined with historical grievances, land rights, and cultural pride. To play with these identities for political gains is to strike at the very foundation of peace and coexistence. More alarmingly, the Bandh sets a dangerous precedent. If an unrecognized, unaccountable group like the FNCC can paralyze life in two districts without consequence, what prevents others from adopting similar tactics? It invites a future where governance is replaced by disruption, and where silence from authorities becomes a license for anarchy. Call for immediate intervention and transparency. It is imperative that the government of Manipur and the Ministry of Home Affairs step forward with urgency and clarity. An impartial investigation must be launched into the origins of the Foothill Naga Coordinating Committee, its sources of funding and logistics, and the reasons for its sudden appearance. Any political party or interest group found to be backing the blockade should be held accountable through the legal system. Furthermore, the Naga community leadership should openly address whether the FNCC has any mandate to act in their name. If not, public disassociation and condemnation are vital steps toward preserving inter-community trust. Similarly, the Kuki leadership must continue to uphold its current path of peaceful resistance, even as it prepares for contingencies. The state cannot afford to ignore this issue any longer. What is at stake is not just the freedom of movement between Kangpokpi and Churachandpur, but the credibility of democratic processes, the rule of law, and the future of harmonious cohabitation in Manipur. Let reason prevail over rhetoric, let justice outweigh politics,